Welcome back to Dragon Army Books. My name is Dustin, and I'm starting another new series on my channel, but I like this one maybe the most out of any other little series that we've done on the channel. And I've kept up with most of those series except for Star Wars. I've got a little bit bogged down in going through the whole Disney canon, but I swear I'm coming back to that. This new series is great because it is accessible to everyone. I get that when I or other booktubers create video reviews of particular books, even if they're spoiler free, that's not going to be applicable to everyone, especially if they don't want to read that book in the first place. Not every video that I make is for every person. However, this new series could be for every person, because what I am wanting to do is not wait until I get to the end of a book or the end of a series before talking about said book or said series. I simply want to have the liberty from time to time to create a video on my channel that is somewhat unpolished, somewhat unfiltered, just real, raw, quick thoughts on things that I think are cool. So this new series is called Hey, This Is Cool. Because one, I'm not that creative when it comes to titling things. And then two, I don't want to have to finish a whole book or a whole series to feel like I can talk about something. I want to be able to just in the heat of the moment, talk about whatever it is that I want to talk about. So this first video in this series is on a current series that I'm reading called Cradle by Wight, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. I've only read 2 of the books so far, so I do not know, I'm not a registered professional when it comes to this book or this author or this series, or in particular, the thing that I want to talk about today, the magic system. So, hey, this is cool, the magic system of Cradle. And listen, just to make it clear, I'm 2 books into, I think, what is a 10-book series so far, and I don't even know if it's complete. So I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the understanding. This is just me gushing about something that I currently think is cool. And it's the magic system here found in Unsouled and Soulsmith. I believe that's the title of the first 2 books. I'm really, really enjoying it. And here's the thing. I think it's called Sacred Arts, or it might not have a full terminology. Maybe it's called Sacred Arts. And the idea here is that all living creatures have an aura about them. A-U-R-A, an aura about them. Don't really know how to shape that vowel. But, fire has a fire aura. Water has a water aura. Swords have a sword aura about them. It is kind of just this spiritual energy, this presence about them. And humans can absorb or take in the aura of the elements around them. And then when humans take in this aura from other living things, they can turn it into Madra. And that's kind of like the key component of this magic system. It really is just like mana in a lot of other video games or stories, fantasy stories, but it's this spiritual energy that then they can harness and use to for certain effects. So fire aura can be absorbed and then used to set things ablaze. Let's see, Sword Madra, I talked about that. Sword Aura can be turned into Sword Madra, and it can be used to cut things. And even these various pieces of Madra can be forged together for unique purposes. So it's kind of like Final Fantasy VII is just what I thought of. And 2 different materia linked together create a certain new effect. So if you take Fire Madra and Destruction Madra and forge those together, you can have Black Flame, or this ability that destroys things in a very fire-friendly kind of way. So that's kind of like the innate magic system that I'm learning about as the books progress, and as our lead character Lyndon in the story is growing and learning the system himself. It's kind of linked to some of anytime we talk about magic systems, we got to talk about Brandon Sanderson, who's like the king of really intricate magic systems, but how Sanderson often links the revelations of the magic system along with the plot, that's what's happening here in Cradle as well. So I don't know all about it yet, but I do know that Lyndon is growing in these abilities, and there's different levels of hierarchy based on the level of ascension or the power that you've gained or gleaned. So it starts as like on a foundation level and then goes to, it's not bronze, copper, and then it can eventually get up to gold. There's various levels of gold and even beyond. So it reminds me, and I haven't even watched these, but like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, right? Like you've got Goku going through and Gohan and whoever else going through these various levels of ascension to where at the beginning you can like do some kind of ability and later you can destroy worlds. That's kind of the differentiation between some of these levels. And typically if you are a higher level, you're going to be able to trounce the lower levels. But if you're crafty enough, like our character Lyndon is, even at a low level, you can accomplish great feats that wouldn't otherwise be possible. This kind of advancement system within the magic and the abilities and the power, it really speaks to me and it works for me. I know it won't work for everyone, but again, I'm a gamer at heart and I've always enjoyed role-playing games where there's a leveling system and a magic system. I'm playing Final Fantasy X right now, so there's a sphere grid, or there's just this progression in this level and this grind that happens so that you really see your character progressing. That's why I really liked the Burning Quartet, or at least the first 2 books in Evan Winter's series that begins with the Rage of Dragons, because there's multiple scenes where your character is just grinding out, battling, and it becomes tedious for a lot of people, but I love that kind of progression. And that's what I'm getting here in this story, is that Lyndon is lowest of the low. In fact, he's unsold, and so he doesn't even have the ability to do some of these things at the beginning of the story, and to watch him slowly advance over time, and he really has to work for it, has been super cool to see. He's certainly not arrived yet. There's another guy in the second book that just showed up on the scene who is just eons above not only Lyndon but every other character we've come to. So like he can be carrying on a conversation with a smile on his face, dodging all of these elite attacks from elite characters, and then using his Madra to be able to accomplish some incredible things. So again, I'm still learning this magic system as it progresses, but it's one of the funnest parts of this series so far. I like the characters, I like the story, I like the battles, but I like most of those things because it's all wrapped up in this slowly unveiling magic system, which I believe is called the Sacred Arts. I'm really going to love this series because it's going to allow me to geek out over things without doing full thought through reviews. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and maybe it's encouraged you to pick up the first book in Will Wight's series Cradle. These books are very short, 250, 300 words at most in these first 2 books. So it is, or sorry, not words. That would be the shortest book ever. Pages, 250, 300 pages. So it is very short, very quick read. I would encourage you, if this sounds like something that you would enjoy, this magic system, pick up Unsold and start the journey along with me. And for my question for the comments, what book has your favorite magic system? Let's do that. We're talking about magic systems. Which book has your favorite? Drop it in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch and like this video. If you haven't yet, click subscribe, join the Dragon Army, and we'll see you in the next one.